When you hear the sound of the bell, you know you're in the championship rounds with of Essex. So let's get to it. I want to open up this week's episode um, with an open letter to one Claressa Shields, to the GWOAT. Now, I know there's a lot of speculation, a lot of talk about the interview, who put hands on who, and blah, 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 blah. I've said as much about that, but I do want to say this. I think what Claressa Shields, Claressa, I'm talking to you, Rest, T Rex, whatever they call you, a Flint, baby girl, whatever they call you, I'm talking right to you. Um, I think you did a terrible thing when you said that all of Alycia Baumgardner's fans, or most of her fans, are a bunch of horny guys. I've heard a lot of people say crazy things about women's boxing. And just as like, listen, I've heard people call women's boxing bitch boxing. All right. I've had to stop grown men from speaking inappropriately about fighters and just craziness. So it behooves me on how one of the most accomplished fighters in the history of boxing, let alone women's boxing, would marginalize a fellow undisputed champion who defeated a former world champion, the likes of Michaela Mayer. Um, she was on the undercard as the co-feature on the Shields Marshall, historic card. So I just don't understand how somebody that is considered to be one of the faces of women's boxing can say something so misogynistic. You know, as a man, it's like I'm like, damn, I'm the one defending women's boxing and saying, hey, don't just look at her as a piece of this. And you know what I'm saying? Like it takes, I'm sure it takes more out of you than me, but sometimes can you imagine as a man the way that I have to defend the dignity of women's boxing, and you simplify it by saying all of her fans are horny guys? I mean, I know it's personal to you. So when people take things personal, they just talk out of character. I don't give a shit about the rap song. I don't give a shit about nothing else. I just feel like, it's like the black person that gets a college degree and then say, man, black people go to college to party. They don't go there to learn. Like, what the fuck are you doing closing the door for the people behind you? You're supposed to be leaving the fucking door open. And I hate to be using profanity, but it's just, you, I don't get it. I don't get it. So you can respond to me, you can not respond to me, you can ignore me, you can do whatever you like. But I hope that you would do better by women's boxing and not say something so misogynistic. I mean, it's hard enough for women alone to overcome being sex. You just heard Angel Reese talk about fighting against being sexualized as a female basketball player, and then you make such a statement. It's just come on, please do better, do better. Again, I don't mind how you carry yourself. That's your fucking business. You ain't my sister, you ain't my daughter, you ain't my girl. You carry yourself however you want, but don't detract from women's boxing, please. That being said, let's move on to some action in the ring. We're talking about one Skye Nicolson. People like to make jokes about Skye and her relationship. Again, it would be crazy for people just to attribute Skye's success in the ring somehow to whatever relationship there is or isn't allegedly between her and Eddie Hearn. Let's be real. This girl is a sweet boxer, and she's becoming more um, comfortable in her professional game. Sitting down on her punches a little bit more. We saw a little bit of showboating, but more importantly, we're seeing a confident fighter. And what are her options? What are her options? Some people want to see her in a hometown title defense. I don't know where she's from, but she'll be somewhere in Australia making a title defense if she's got it her way, or maybe that's part of the plan, or maybe it's a part of the plan because one of I wouldn't say one of her compatriots, but hell, she's over in the UK, and so is Raven Chapman. Raven Chapman is one of the mandatory challengers for the WBC title, so maybe that's an option. We don't talk about Tiara Brown much because we're waiting for her to, make a little bit more waves as far as moving up the rankings. Visibility, we know, notoriety, those are the kind of things that add to a fighter um, you know, being an option. All right. High profile fights is what we're looking for. Um, Caddis Artingstall is a good fight, although I know she doesn't have the profile built up quite yet. Kind of a domestic bout. Remember, Skye's from Australia, but she's more or less based out of the UK, as is Matchroom. And so there's lots of action over there for her. And again, obviously, Amanda Serrano and Skye has mentioned that she'd be willing to go the 12 by 3. So let's see, man. Somehow when you get to winning and you establish yourself, um, you get to have a little bit more options than people want for you to have. I want for Skye to have the Serrano option. I want for her to make a mandatory against a fellow, they could be considered contemporaries as prospects. But now look, Nicholson's a champ, so defense against Chapman is great. And to me, it doesn't tarnish Chapman's legacy in any way. Should she not come out the victor? And hell, look, she pops up and wins as the Mando. So all sorts of ways these things could play out. We'll just have to wait and see. All right. Um, I mentioned Amanda Serrano, and because yes, I'd like to see her fight Skye Nicolson 12 by 3s. But if I mentioned Amanda Serrano in another fight, I can guarantee you I won't be like the rest of these people out here wanting Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor rematch. Absolutely not. There is so much unfinished business on the table. First of all, Katie Taylor got unfinished business with Chantel Cameron. She done fucking stole a girl's belt and ran off. So I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay. And part of me believes that there's a conspiracy. I don't often put on a tinfoil hat, although I've known to be a hat man. There's a conspiracy that some people want Katie Taylor to be more decorated than Claressa Shields. A bit of a whitewashing. Yeah, I'll say it. Because you keep giving this woman accolades. You fucking gave her the titles at 140. She didn't win them. She didn't win them. You gave her the win over Amanda Serrano. She didn't win. So, I don't know, man. Like, why? Why do people want Katie Taylor to be the most accomplished, woman's boxer? It's not gonna happen. You can't, especially when it seems so disingenuous, which is why if Taylor Serrano happens, I gotta say, hey, Amanda, you couldn't think of anything better to do? Like, because you don't need the money. Amanda, let's just talk, all right? Jordan, I got this, chill. You talk all about you're the highest paid woman, you're the highest paid boxer in and out of the ring. You sure as shit don't need the money fighting Katie Taylor in a spear. Why don't you just fight Alycia Baumgardner, who's itching for a fight? Because if she can't have a double undisputed with Claressa Shields, wouldn't it be great? All right, move up, or maybe she can try to move down. I don't know. Make it happen. You guys are more along the weight continuum than any other fight you're looking for. Because remember, Taylor moved up to 140 now. So what are we talking about? What are we talking about? Just and it's so the fight is so asinine. It can only make me believe that they just want to give Taylor a 3-division undisputed to try to fuck with Claressa. You can't. No, I cannot accept it. The same way I can't accept Claressa talking foul against the institution of women's boxing that my blood, sweat, and tears have been invested into. I'm not going to let you motherfuckers do this with Katie Taylor. No, thank you. All right. So yeah, just because you've seen her fall off a little bit, I don't see you motherfuckers talk about her fighting Sandy Ryan because she sparred Sandy and the work was vicious. I ain't turning nobody against nobody. I'm just saying what it is. Let's calm down. All right. No Taylor Serrano 2. Nobody wants that. Go do something else. Please go do something else. Speaking of doing something else, this weekend, pretty good fight week. We have Ellie Scotney, who won her Super Bantamweight division title against Sugar Neeks. That is Shernika Johnson of Australia. Scotney won that title and she's defended it once. She's in here not for just a defense, but a unification bout this weekend on the undercard of Zelfa Barrett and Jordan Gill. And she's in that unification bout against a Russian gal, Segolene Lefebvre. Lefebvre, got to be Lefebvre. So many consonants in those Russian names. Nonetheless, Shorty is 18-0, but she's only got 1 KO. She is the WBO champion. And this is great. Again, Scotney in her 9th bout. She's going for unified. Hell of a fighter, hell of a fighter. And you know, the division 118, I like it. So I was saying, if not, they're not going to give my girls, the collective, if they're not going to give either Shannon Ryan or Jasmine Arteaga a shot at 115, these girls might have to consider moving up. We'll have to wait and see. But this Russian girl is unknown as far as I'm concerned. But I mean, she won her belt via the vacant title bout against. I mean, she hasn't fought anybody as hardcore as I am. She hasn't fought anybody that I can vaguely recall. So I'm not saying that this will be a walkthrough for Scotney. I'm just saying Scotney should be intent on unifying and making some history and really feeling good about her trajectory as a champion, as a fighter. And I'm going to tune in because again, 18-0. I mean, I can't imagine you just finding 18 people to beat up on. There's have to be some competitive curve, and we're going to find out. We're also going to find out if Rhiannon Dixon has what it takes, you know, and I'm not slighting anybody that wins a title in a vacant fashion, not at all. It's just that let's hope that both fighters that are featured in this bout for the vacant title are evenly ranked so the fight can be evenly matched, all right? And I think this is what we have here. Very seriously, the young prospect, now contender and challenger for the WBO Lightweight division title. Remember, since Taylor vacated, there's been a lot of movement with the belts. We know Beatrice Ferreira's fighting for one. We know that Caroline Dubois got the IBO. Yeah, Ferreira's fighting for the IBF. I don't think this is the WBA. So the belts are kind of scattered all over the place, but that's one of the fun things about boxing when, you know, the chase for unification. And so it begins here. Now, the opponent, Karen Elizabeth Carabajal out of Argentina. Don't sleep on her. She's 22-0, 3 KOs. Her only losses to who? The master thief, Katie Taylor. Now, Katie Taylor legitimately beat her in this bout. At least I can recall. I don't want to make up nothing. But she's 22-0. And just some of that experience may serve her well. We'll have to wait and see. I'm not giving Dixon any you know, just I'm not gonna say she's gonna go in there and blow out Carabajal at all. So I'm not giving her any unfair advantages. And the fight really does have to happen because who knows? Again, if any of the and even if it's Scotney or a Dixon, should any of these fighters come out unsuccessful in these events, it's not the end. It's not the end because women's boxing, these guys will meet again up and down. They're moving across weight. So that's what makes these bouts so competitive. Always the room for revenge. So it's pretty much it is what we have for this weekend. Of course, women's boxing is always present because women's boxing is boxing, and boxing is our thing. All right. Guys, feel free, drop a like, share, and again, feel free to pass off this information as though you've done the legwork yourself. I really don't give a shit. Spread the knowledge because what happens is when it comes to DNA is very, very traceable. When you start talking about this thing, women's boxing, people are going to immediately know you must be tuning into King Amin of Essex because there's nobody that is as thorough and as intricate about women's boxing as me. So even when you try to pass it along, you flip that tag, then say, this is a Fugazi bootlegging. But I don't care. All right. It's about the proliferation of women's boxing because women's boxing is boxing. Y'all know the rest. I'm out. I see you.